For decades, the shopping mall was one of the most iconic symbols of American consumerism and culture. From their rapid expansion in the mid-20th century to their peak in the 1980s and 1990s, malls were more than just centers of commerce. They were social spaces, cultural touchstones, and architectural testaments to suburban growth. Teenagers flocked to food courts and movie theaters, families spent their weekends browsing storefronts, and holiday shopping brought crowds that seemed endless. Yet, as the 21st century has unfolded, the decline of U.S. malls has become increasingly apparent. Vacant storefronts, shuttered anchor stores, and empty parking lots now mark what was once a thriving symbol of American life. Central to this decline is the rise of online shopping, which has transformed not only how people purchase goods, but also how they conceptualize the shopping experience itself. The death of malls and the trend toward e-commerce reflect not merely a shift in commerce, but a broader cultural transformation in American society. To understand the death of malls, one must first appreciate their place in American history. The first enclosed shopping malls emerged in the 1950s, coinciding with the boom of suburban development following World War II. As families moved out of crowded cities into suburban neighborhoods, developers sought ways to centralize commerce in these new communities. Malls quickly became the answer. By the 1970s and 1980s, malls were being built at a staggering pace across the country. They offered everything under one roof: department stores, specialty retailers, food courts, arcades, and even indoor ice skating rinks in some cases. Beyond their convenience, malls became deeply woven into American culture. They were places where teenagers gained independence, where families gathered, and where holiday traditions were cemented. The mall became a stage for American life, immortalized in films, television shows, and music videos. In many ways, malls symbolized prosperity and middle-class stability, reflecting both the consumer confidence and cultural identity of a growing suburban America. Despite their cultural significance, malls were not immune to economic and social change. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, cracks in the foundation began to appear. One of the earliest signs of trouble came from the decline of department stores, which had long served as the anchor tenants of malls. Retail giants such as Sears, JCPenney, and Macy's struggled to adapt to changing consumer preferences and increased competition. As these anchors closed, the ripple effect was devastating. Smaller retailers, which depended on anchor traffic, also began to struggle. Without these anchors, entire malls entered a spiral of decline. Other factors also contributed. Shifts in demographics and consumer culture meant younger generations did not see malls as the central social hubs they once were. Where teens in the 1980s might have spent hours at the mall arcade or food court, teenagers in the 2000s were more likely to socialize online, stream movies at home, or gather in more urban spaces. Rising rents, changing real estate dynamics, and the sheer oversaturation of malls. At one point, the United States had over 1,500 enclosed malls, further exacerbated the problem. In short, malls became victims of their own success, built in such abundance that they could not all survive as consumer habits shifted. As malls entered decline, a new force emerged that would completely reshape the retail landscape: online shopping. Companies like Amazon, which started in the mid-1990s as an online bookseller, grew into massive e-commerce platforms offering nearly every product imaginable. The appeal of online shopping was immediate and powerful. Consumers could browse from home, access a global marketplace, compare prices instantly, and have purchases delivered directly to their doorsteps. For many, this convenience outweighed the experience of physically going to a mall. The growth of online shopping accelerated in the 2010s, with innovations such as same-day or two-day delivery through Amazon Prime, personalized recommendations powered by algorithms, and the rise of mobile shopping apps. Online retailers could operate with lower overhead costs than brick-and-mortar stores, allowing them to offer competitive prices that malls could not match. Furthermore, the growth of customer reviews, product unboxing videos, and virtual try-on technologies made the online experience increasingly interactive, bridging the gap between physical and digital shopping. The COVID-19 pandemic acted as a catalyst, further widening the gap between malls and online shopping. With lockdowns closing malls for months at a time, consumers turned to e-commerce in record numbers. In 2020 alone, online shopping surged by over 40% compared to the previous year, as households adapted to digital solutions for clothing, groceries, electronics, and even furniture. While some malls reopened after restrictions lifted, foot traffic rarely returned to pre-pandemic levels. Many people had become accustomed to the convenience of online shopping and saw little reason to return to crowded malls. For malls already on the brink of closure, the pandemic was the final blow. Countless shopping centers across the country shut their doors permanently, leaving behind empty shells that once symbolized prosperity. Today, commercial developers and communities face the challenge of what to do with these massive, declining spaces. Some have been repurposed into offices, fitness centers, housing complexes, or even medical facilities, but many remain abandoned, haunting reminders of a bygone retail era. The death of malls is not just about economics and technology. It is also about culture and shifting values. Younger generations, particularly millennials and Gen Z, often place a higher value on experiences than on material possessions. Rather than spending an afternoon shopping for clothes or accessories, they may prefer to attend concerts, travel, or invest in digital experiences. Social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok have also reshaped the idea of showing off, shifting the focus from what people own to what they do. This cultural shift explains why some malls that remain successful have pivoted toward becoming lifestyle centers or experience-based hubs. Instead of focusing solely on retail, these malls emphasize entertainment, dining, and interactive spaces. However, even these efforts often cannot compete with the seamless efficiency of e-commerce. What was once a dominant symbol of consumer life has largely lost its relevance in the face of a society that increasingly lives, shops, and socializes online. The death of U.S. malls and the rise of online shopping illustrate a profound transformation in American consumer life. Where malls once stood as monuments to suburban prosperity and social connection, they now stand as relics of a past era. Online shopping, with its convenience, efficiency, and adaptability, has reshaped the way people purchase goods and think about retail. While some malls continue to adapt, many have shuttered, leaving communities to grapple with empty spaces that were once vibrant centers of activity.